Hello, and welcome to my review of Toy Story.
You saved the day again, Woody.
You're my favorite deputy.
Big thank you to FilmBuff06 for requesting this review of Toy Story. Before Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc. and Cars, the creating minds of Disney Pixar introduced you to Toy Story and an astonishing world where toys play while the owners are away. Rediscovered acclaimed filmmaker John Lasseter's directorial debut with Woody, as played by the amazing Tom Hanks. There's Buzz Lightyear, played by Tim Allen, with all their friends in an adventure filled with humour, heart and friendship in a must-have special edition. This is the Blu-ray edition, by the way. This groundbreaking computer-generated classic started it all and set the stage for the equally amazing Toy Story 2. And this is a really good film. This is a classic. The first Toy Story film came out in 1995. It came out in the same year that I was born, and this is one of the films that I grew up with. I've got it on Blu-ray. It looks amazing on Blu-ray. I've got it on Blu-ray along with Toy Story 2 and 3. And, you know, Pixar. It's made by Disney Pixar. And I think that Disney Pixar, they have an almost flawless record with their films. I mean, Toy Story are probably the best films, and we have Bug's Life. I grew up with that as well. They made Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. There's going to be another Incredibles film as well, which is so great. I've waited years and years for this, and they made Cars. I'm not really a big fan of Cars. I'd say out of all the Pixar films, the only ones I don't really like are Cars 1 and Cars 2, and they're making a Cars 3 for some stupid reason. Why, I don't know. But, yeah. Let's talk about Toy Story. Toy Story, like I said, it's a childhood classic. It's just one of those films that has always stuck with me. I remember watching it and really loving it when I was a child, and likewise now that I've grown up, that I'm an adult, I still very much enjoy it. It's 20 years this year since the film was released, and I don't think the film has aged badly. Some people say the film may not have aged as well as some other animated films. I mean, if you look at other Toy Story, say if you look at Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, they look better. But bearing in mind, this was the first full feature film by Disney Pixar, because before this, they made all those shorts with Look So Junior and all of that. And there's that one with the baby, I can't remember the name of it. Anyhow, the story goes, you've got all these toys, you've got this gang of toys. The leader is Woody, as voiced by Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, by the way, he is probably my favourite actor in movies, probably. He's absolutely amazing in almost everything he's in, bar Cloud Atlas, because that was just weird. But he's perfect as the voice of Woody. You've got all these other characters, these other toys. You've got this piggy bank called Hamm. You've got Mr. Potato Head. You've got Rex, who's one of my favourites, voiced by Wallace Shawn. Absolutely amazing. Again, cannot imagine anyone else voicing that character. And we have a few more characters. We have their owner, Andy, who's this little kid. He owns all these toys. And we have the Slinky dog as well, voiced by Varney, I forgot to mention. What happens is, it's Andy's birthday. He gets a new toy, and the new toy is this really cool toy called Buzz Lightyear. It's all flashy and everything, and Woody gets jealous of this toy because Andy starts playing more with this Buzz Lightyear toy instead of Woody, because Woody was Andy's toy. You know, he was the toy. But now this with this Buzz Lightyear in the equation, things are going to take a turn for the worse, and it turns out that Andy's playing more with this new space toy rather than this cowboy. And so the story goes, Woody gets jealous, he gets really angry, he has this argument with Buzz. Buzz thinks that he's an actual real space ranger. He doesn't think that he's a toy, he doesn't realise that he's just an action figure. And one night Woody tricks Buzz into thinking that somebody has fallen out of the window, and then Buzz ends up getting pushed out the window. And after that, for more or less the whole film, Woody tries to rescue Buzz, and Buzz ends up going inside this Woody goes inside this car because Andy and his mum want to go to Pizza Planet. And before I carry on any further, where is Andy's dad in the whole time? You never ever see him in any of the Toy Story films. It's never even explained or mentioned who or where his dad is. I've no idea. And they all go into this Pizza Planet place. It's basically like a McDonald's but in the Disney World, and Woody's taken there because, you know, kids sometimes they want to take their toys with them wherever they go, but Buzz follows them, and it's there. They stop at a petrol station, and then they get left behind. And then eventually they get this truck. They go to Pizza Planet to try and find Andy. They nearly do. They end up in this machine thing where you can win all these toys. You've got all those aliens, you know, those three-eyed alien things which you see in all the Toy Story films, and then you have the main villain of the film capture Woody and Buzz, called Sid, and Sid is a neighbour of Andy and his mum, and he is a real hellraiser because he's basically a rebellious child. He does everything wrong, he blows his toys up and everything, and Woody and Buzz end up getting taken by Sid, and they temporarily become his toys. They are more or less imprisoned inside Sid's room, and then Buzz realises that he isn't a real space ranger, and Woody's been trying to get through to him. And when Buzz finally realises this, with that scene when he tries to fly and then he doesn't, he ends up just falling all the way down to the floor from the upstairs of the house. It's a really emotional scene, and I think the way it was animated and things, and the way it's voice acted by Tim Allen, it's really touching. You really do actually feel sorry for Buzz, because he actually thought that he was a real space ranger, when in actual fact all he is just an action figure based off a cartoon show. And Woody tries to help him. Buzz is feeling all sorry for himself. Then he gets a rocket strapped to him by Sid, because Sid wants to blow him up because he's an absolutely crazy little boy. And Sid's messing around with all these other toys. His sister's toy, he took his sister's toy and put a pterodactyl head on it. So he like swaps heads from other toys and puts them on girls' toys and things. He's really messed up. And Woody ends up trying to get through to Buzz, and he says, like, what good am I? All I am is just a cowboy doll. And he demonstrates this because he's got a string on his back, and he just pulls a string, and you get that famous "I've got a snake in my boot" line. And whereas Buzz Lightyear, he's got all these gadgets, he's got a laser, he's got all these buttons, he can glow in the dark, he's got a removable helmet, you know, he's the toy to get, really. And Woody's trying to tell Buzz that, but Buzz doesn't seem to realise. He's trying to come to terms with the fact that he's not a real thing, he's just a toy. And when Buzz realises, they want to get out of the house, but then Sid arrives, unfortunately, because he's in the room at the same time asleep. His alarm clock goes off, and then he finds that Buzz is still there. He's got the rocket strapped to him. He takes him outside, and he's about to light a match, but then Woody plans a rescue with all of these other toys that Sid has been torturing. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's kind of implied that they're more or less being tortured, because there's one that's been stuck inside a sandpit as well, and all that. It's really disturbing. When you think about, when you grow up, you realise these things. When you're a kid, you don't really think about these things. And Woody then scares Sid, because he basically does like an exorcist twist with his head, and then he talks to him. And obviously the whole point of the whole film is the whole idea that when their owners are away, when they're not in the same rooms, and when they can't see what they're doing, the toys come to life. They start talking, they start interacting with each other, and it's a really inventive story, and it works really well with this animation. It's a really good idea. I cannot imagine anything else that could have started off this whole string of 3D animation films made by Disney Pixar. I mean, nowadays it's you get loads and loads and loads of them every year. You just lose count of them, and all these other companies. And after Sid gets scared away, Woody and Buzz escape, and they find that Andy, their owner, is moving house, so they have to get back with Andy just in time, and with the rest of the toys, Woody has to convince all his friends that he didn't push Buzz down off the window on purpose. It was all a mistake, which it was. At the start of the film, Woody and Buzz didn't really get on with each other, whereas towards the end of the film, they have a really good friendship, and that carries on through the rest of the Toy Story films, and it's a really good friendship. It's one of the best friendships in all cinema history, in my opinion. So they try and catch up with this truck which has all the stuff inside, because they're moving house, and it's probably the best scene out of the whole film. The whole chase sequence, they use the car to chase the truck, and then they end up lighting the rocket, then they keep going towards the truck. It's a really good scene. The music is absolutely fantastic as well, by Randy Newman. The theme tune, You've Got a Friend in Me, it gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. It's just absolutely brilliant. Everything about this film, it epitomises my childhood, and it made my childhood worthwhile. You know, childhood, some of the best years of my whole life. So by the end of the film, it's Christmas. They're in the new house. Woody and Buzz are reunited with Andy and all the rest of the toys, and that's more or less the whole film. And at the very, very end of the film, you find out that Andy has got a new dog, so that will take priority over the toys now, and they all start laughing with each other. It's a really good ending, and it actually is a good way to bring about the sequel, Toy Story 2, which came out 4 years later after this was released in 1995. Toy Story 2 came out in 99, just before the new millennium. So, what do I give Toy Story? Well, as I've said a few times through this video, it holds a really special place in my heart, this film, as does Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, which only came out 5 years ago. Yeah, that's right, I even love Toy Story 3, and I didn't think I would have done, because Toy Story 3 came out ages after Toy Story 2. But anyhow, I need to give this a score, and it's probably one of the most easiest scores I'm ever going to give in any movie review of mine. I'm going to easily give this a 10 out of 10. It was an absolutely groundbreaking achievement at the time. There had been nothing done like this ever before in terms of feature films. I mean, they did it in adverts, they did it in short films, but they never actually had a theatrical film that had this style of animation. Nowadays, our generation, kids, they sort of take the whole 3D animation thing for granted, and they don't realise that the whole thing that really started it off was this film, the first Toy Story film. And after this, of course, Pixar have made loads more, and even this year they're continuing that with the recent release Inside Out and the upcoming The Good Dinosaur. And Toy Story 4 is coming out in the future as well, which should be interesting. Personally, I'm not really sure about that, because in my opinion, Toy Story 3 was, in my eyes, the perfect end to the whole franchise. I'm not really sure if they should make another Toy Story film, but you never know. Likewise, the cast, the voice cast, they all do a great job. Every single one of them do a great job. They've all been well cast. Tom Hanks, of course, this was made around the time when Tom Hanks was a superstar. He just got 2 Oscars around that time. Philadelphia was released a year before this film. He won the Oscar for that. And, Philadelphia was released in 93. Forrest Gump was released in the year before this film. And of course, for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks won 2 consecutive Best Actor Oscars. And it's quite surprising that he hasn't won any since. He's been nominated a few times, but I suppose he's been beaten by better performances from that year. So yeah, that is my review of Toy Story. Don't worry, I will be reviewing Toy Story 2. May not be straight away, but I will be reviewing that, and I'll be reviewing Toy Story 3. And whenever Toy Story 4 comes out, I will probably be reviewing that, as that will be a very interesting film. But for now, once again, thank you very much to FilmBuff06 for suggesting this review, for requesting this review. And of course, thank you very much to all of you for tuning in to watch this video, my review of the childhood classic Toy Story. I hope you're having a very great day, and as always, cheerio.
Will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy. And as the years go by, a friendship will never die. You gon' see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me.
All right.
Yeah, you got a friend in me.
Score!
You got a friend in me.
Cool.
What do you think?
Oh, this looks great, Mom.
Okay, birthday boy.
Don't forget to click the link below to subscribe to me, James Croft, aka the Obsesstuvian 95. Have a great day.